Let's say China.
China. There are no storm movers, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes, hello. It is me, James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened. Possibly the only news you will need today. It's Friday, the 12th of May, 2017, and we have a packed show today, but first, this.
Hey, I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
And that can mean only one thing. Well, actually, no, it could mean quite a lot of things, but in this case, it means only one thing, and that is that our good friend and man-shaped genital wart, Jefferson Sessions, has started his war on drugs. He wanted to do it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today, Jefferson Sessions has put into action a thing that has never fucking worked. Today, in a new directive, Jeff Sessions put into what we can only describe as something that could potentially ramp up criminal charges involving non-violent drug crimes. You've heard this before, right? Yes, Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan, just say no. Well, it doesn't work, people. We've proved it doesn't work. Even George W. Bush knew it didn't work, and if that idiot knows it didn't work, then my God, what are we doing still doing this? He's put in mandatory sentences for anybody caught on a drug offence. So essentially, what this means is that if you get caught doing something that last week they may have said, well, don't do that again, but, slap on the wrist, off you go. Now, you're going to go to prison. And here's what Jeff said. I fucking hate his voice, so I'm not going to listen to it. And hopefully, they'll stop it when it's over.
Today, I am announcing that I sent a memo to each of our United States attorneys last night, establishing a charging and sentencing policy for this Department of Justice. Our responsibility is to fulfill our role in a way that accords with law, advances public safety, and promotes respect for and consistency in our legal system. I have empowered our prosecutors to charge and pursue the most serious offense, as I believe the law requires, most serious, readily provable offense. It means that we're going to meet our responsibility to enforce the law with judgment and fairness. It is simply the right and moral thing to do. We are seeing an increase in violent crime in our cities, particularly in Baltimore, Chicago, Memphis, and Milwaukee, St. Louis, and many others.
Please.
The murder rate has surged.
Thank you. So essentially, what Jeff is doing there is he is reliving the good old days, and this goes to show how out of touch these politicians are. This is a man, you look at him, he has literally got one foot in the grave, and he is making rules and laws that impact everybody. And the weird thing is on this is that in some states marijuana now is legal, but at a federal level it is not legal. So essentially you can be doing marijuana legally in your own state, but if the FBI or any other federal agency decides to press charges against you, they actually can do that. That's not... it's fucked up. And that's my favourite word at the moment, isn't it? Everything's fucked up. And it is. So I've got some good news. And that was today. It was announced that people with HIV have a life expectancy which is now near normal, thanks to these new drugs that are on the market and early detection and just awareness in general. So that is fantastic. And then in news which isn't so fantastic, today there was a huge cybersecurity attack. The Kaspersky Lab, which is a Russian cybersecurity firm, said that it had recorded at least 45,000 attacks in as many as 74 countries, with Great Britain being hit particularly hard in the healthcare field, where doctors were locked out from getting their patients' information. The hacking tool that was used was called ransomware, and essentially what that is, it's a malware that encrypts data and it locks the user out of their computer and then demands a ransom. Now in this case, a little box was popping up on people's screens demanding $300 to unlock their data. Attacks were reported in Japan, the Philippines, Turkey, Vietnam, Russia, Spain, a lot of other countries, and nobody's knowing who did this yet. Nobody's accepted responsibility for this. It could just be some high school dude that's just cashing in big time right now. 300 from you, thank you very much. But whoever did it, they caused a massive amount of trouble today. And this is interesting, coming on the back yesterday of the executive order that was signed by Trumpy, the cybersecurity executive order. I'm not insinuating anything. Just because the US was not hit by any of these attacks, I'm not saying that. Oh, behave. And now I want to bring Trump Vader in. He's been waiting outside the studio because he has a tweet that he's desperate to read, and it's going to feed very nicely into what I want to talk about next. Trump Vader texted me earlier and he said, look, this is a tweet I want to read because I think it's really clever and funny. So I said, yeah, fine. Come on in. So Trump Vader, yep, come on in. Hello, how are you? We missed you yesterday. We did miss you. Yeah, well, you know. So, guys, you want to read your tweet? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Trump Vader.
James Comey better hope that there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press.
Okay, I have two questions, Trump Vader. Firstly, did you just threaten the ex-director of the FBI? And the second question is, tapes. What the fuck is this? 1989? Tapes? Or is that the same as when you said wiretap, but actually you didn't mean wiretap, you just meant anything that you wanted it to mean? Alright, well, he's just shrugging, but he does want a round of applause, and he was here, so he loves them. He lives for the round of applause, so let's give Trump Vader his round of applause. Oh, what do you think about that, eh? He's smiling away. He's loving this. He is loving this one. This is a big one. Let's see what happens. If you miss a day, they miss you. Yeah. Anyway, Trump Vader, thank you for reading that tweet for us, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye. See you later. Don't slam the door. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, so Trump Vader's tweet today sounded an awful lot like a threat, didn't it? You know, if you do this, you better not, because there might be tapes. Oh, Donald Trump, are there tapes? Were you recording conversations in the Oval Office? Because you know that has not really been allowed since 1973, when it came out that Richard Nixon was secretly recording conversations in the Oval Office. No? Maybe. Anyway, speaking of tweets and Donald Trump, there were some amazing tweets today. It was one of his tweet storms where he was just so upset at seemingly everyone. I'm going to read you a few. This was one that he sent this morning. Again, the story that there was collusion between the Russians and Trump campaign was fabricated by Dems as an excuse for losing the election. That was one. The next one, a few minutes later, came, the fake media is working overtime today. Okay, and then a few minutes after that, as a very active president with lots of things happening, it is not possible for my surrogates to stand at the podium with perfect accuracy. And of course he's referring there to the fact that he was basically telling an exactly different story to what everybody in the press briefing was telling. And let's see. Oh, this is a good one too. Maybe the best thing to do would be to cancel all future press briefings and hand out written responses for the sake of accuracy, with 3 question marks. 3! And then the Comey one that we said there, and then a couple on Clapper. Oh, here it is. When James Clapper himself and virtually everyone else with the knowledge of the witch hunt says there's no collusion, where does it end? The witch hunt. But of course yesterday he was saying, I want this to get done properly and ethically, even though it's a fucking witch hunt. Oh, dear, dear, dear. It's just, when you say that what I just read there is coming from the President of the United States of America. You know, if I'd said that 3 years ago, you would have laughed at me and said, oh, that's funny. What are you, on Saturday Night Live? But no, it's amazing. If you don't follow Donald Trump on Twitter, you really owe it to yourself to do it. It makes you laugh, and then it makes you cry, and then it makes you laugh again, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. It's wonderful. It's good for the soul. I do believe that. I just want to back it up a little bit to the tweet that Trump Vader wrote about James Comey not leaking anything, and better pray that there are no tapes of conversations. This has garnered massive criticism from, well, pretty much everywhere. It seems that Donald Trump is alluding to the fact that he is recording conversations in the Oval Office. Now today, in the press briefing, Sean Spicer was asked this a number of times. Every time he said, the president has no comment on the tweet, which, you know, leaves it open to debate. Is he bluffing to scare James Comey, or is he serious that he was recording not phone conversations, but just general conversations in the Oval Office? Now, James Comey apparently is not worried about anything that's on the tapes. A source close to him told CNN that if there is a tape, there's nothing on there that James Comey is worried about. That there's nothing that incriminates him or makes it seem like he was being unethical. He's not worried about it at all. So, is there a tape? Isn't there a tape? You know, I'm inclined to think there probably isn't a tape, because we know Donald Trump is the bullshitter in chief. I mean, he lies habitually and continually, and it's, you know, so why would we believe him now that maybe there are tapes in the Oval Office? I just don't see it happening. I think it's a bluff. I think he's annoyed at James Comey, and he tweets without thinking about it, and all his little supporters read these tweets and go, yeah, Comey's a devil, ha ha ha, we've got you now. And that brings me on to what I want to talk about now, and it's a bit of a downer for the end of the week actually, but I want to talk about it. You know, if you listen to this program a lot, you know that I love to torture myself by listening to those right-wing news radio talk show hosts. And today on the Dennis Prager show, and Dennis Prager is he's famous for denying that sexual assault can happen on campus and that AIDS cannot be contracted by straight people, among other very bizarre things. Anyway, his show today, a lady rang up and said, look, my son is 14 years old and he's going to high school, and I've been trying to teach him, you know, the Christian way of things, or the, you know, the biblical way of things. And he came to me the other day and showed me a video on YouTube, and it was all about global warming and climate change and how humans have destroyed the earth and killed all these animals. And, you know, she was like, it's very upsetting, and I don't know what to say to him to tell him that this is not true. Dennis Prager then said, oh, you just tell him it's not true. Say, no, it's not true. And then he went as far as to say that even if humans, and he said, we probably are damaging the earth, it doesn't matter, and he doesn't care, because people, well, actually he said men, are much more important than the environment. And then he made this stupid analogy by saying, oh, ask your son if he cares about the environment on Mars. I bet he doesn't, because there's no people there. And I don't actually really know what he was talking about there, because it didn't make much sense. But the point is, I said a few episodes ago that these conservative voters, Trump supporters, are tuning out. They're stopping watching the news because they have been told by their commander-in-chief that it's all fake news. So they're not listening to anything. All they're hearing is what Donald Trump tweets and what these very conservative, whack job, if I'm being honest, pundits are saying on their radio shows. And that is a pretty scary thing to think about. They're not hearing any of the other sides of the stories or what is actually really happening. They're hearing what these talk show hosts are saying. Climate change doesn't exist. There was another one this morning. He was going on about it. What do they call it now? Global warming or global cooling? Or read a fucking newspaper, you idiot. It just makes you want to slap them. I do not recommend listening to right-wing conservative talk shows. That is not good for the soul. It's absolutely not good for the soul. And we're out of time. And that was a really shitty rant to end the week on. But I hope everyone here has an absolutely beautiful weekend. And I will chat with you on Monday. And if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to subscribe and like it on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you're listening to. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's at SoThisHappened. And I will chat with you all on Monday.
I did not have sexual